Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to the Art of Being, a sacred space where we dive into spirituality, healing, manifestation, and all the magic of becoming.
We explore what it means to truly live, to grow, to heal, and to be in this ever-evolving dance between our humanness and our higher selves.
I am Bamzi, a mindset and manifestation coach.
And I'm Joy, a wellness coach. We're so glad you're here. Take a deep breath, settle in, and let's journey together.
Welcome back, beautiful souls. So the other day I was listening to an Oprah podcast, like we were talking about, and she was talking to Elizabeth Gilbert.
I actually
Watched
that as well.
Oh, you watched it?
Did.
You did. So I listened to it. I was walking because you know the way I consume podcasts is listening, but I also saw it on YouTube, and that's the one that I was referencing, where the way they were positioning the seats. Yeah, and because Elizabeth Gilbert is I want to say like I consider her a mentor or a teacher, even though I've never met her.
Yeah.
But because I consume like her books, I consume a lot of interviews where she's been interviewed. I subscribe to her Substack blog where she writes letters to love. So you watched it?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I watched it. Oh my gosh.
First
Yeah.
of all, I'd like to say I was literally blown away. And like Oprah, as she rightfully put it, I mean, we all thought she had her life figured out.
I didn't.
I thought so. After watching the movie Eat, Pray, Love, I never got to read the book, but I had the gist of what it was about. I mean, and she's basically the one who brought wellness and healing and self-acceptance into the world, into the limelight.
Right, because of that movie.
Exactly,
You
know? And so just like Oprah, I thought like, wow, this lady has her life figured out. And so for me to watch that episode and have her be so open, so vulnerable, which is the best, and to realize that, some of the struggles that she faces are the struggles that I'm facing as well. And I think it was such a healing episode to watch. And to watch such a person that I've also looked up to be so open, so vulnerable about her insecurities and how she's showed up in relationships, how she's given of herself in relationships because she wanted the other people to, to sort of like want her back, and how she gave her power away in a lot of her relationships.
Oh my gosh!
And I remember watching, and I did resonate with all of it, but I resonated to some.
Oh, girl, tell me about it. There's some aspects. As she was talking, I'm like, oh, Elizabeth, Elizabeth. Right. So I didn't, and I know Oprah, of course, was speaking on behalf of. Like the mass of in terms of like I thought we thought you had your shit figured out, but actually I've listened to a lot of her interviews where she's vulnerable. She talks about the struggles. In fact, this is the first time she opened up about the abuse that she went through with Rhea. But I've listened to other interviews where she kind of alludes to some of that. So I did know that like she had been through this whole thing. And also, and because I subscribe to like Letters of Love, the reason why she started the Letters from Love that she has on Substack was because of that. Was because she reached a point where she realized that what she needed is love from herself to go back. Go back to herself. So for me, it wasn't a shocker, but it was more like I got more details about like the actual dynamics of like when Rhea was dying, like what actually was happening. But it wasn't surprising. But some of the things that she revealed of how, like, in fact, I remember when she was talking about how she always had this feeling that somebody was gonna come and like take care of her and love her and just nurture her, like some of those things I was just like, oh Elizabeth, oh my gosh, I just it was so beautiful.
And then she ended up then being the one that actually did the nurturing and caretaking, and so what she wanted from other people, she ended up being the one
that's giving to other people, because she's willing to do anything that it takes in order to get that.
And I think that's a part that really got me, where she she had gotten all this success, and she felt she wasn't worthy and deserving
Right.
of it. So she would use it, and literally everything that she made, she'd take it and want to give it away to other people. It was sort of like a way to buy love,
Right.
to win affection,
Right.
to win. And
Right.
I thought, we do that.
We do that all the
We
time.
do that all the time.
Oh my
we
God.
just don't acknowledge
Right.
it or put her,
Right.
put it in that way into words. But there's been situations where I've done it.
Oh, I've watched. Let me tell you, like, in fact, I was watching a video of
Yeah.
this girl that was talking about like she broke up with her boyfriend, but then she was doing like all the things in order to get him back,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And there were a lot of comments of people resonating with like the things you're willing to do in order to get love from somebody,
Win
right?
affection.
There's so many of us that you look at yourself, you're like, oh my God, like I cannot believe I did that.
And sometimes it's in very subtle ways. It doesn't always have to be obvious and overt.
Yes.
But it's these very little subtle ways, and
Yeah.
we never want to admit that we're actually doing it.
Right. Yeah.
For me, what resonated was when we want people who do not want us, the unavailable people, the avoidance, because we feel like we have to work hard for their affection and for their love.
Yeah.
I think it's human nature. The more someone moves away from
The more you reach
feel
out
it
to them.
energetically, and the more you reach out to them.
It's the anxious-avoidant axis.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And being an anxious person, I think I used to be, maybe now not so much. I've worked through that, but there have been times even in friendships, in romantic relationships where I've done that, where the other person has either withdrawn or withheld their love, and I thought I had to do more, give more.
In order, because
be
that's
more,
what
in order
it actually
to
that's what feels
reach
natural
out.
at the time, because it's like, oh, I haven't put more effort to reach out.
So
Maybe
you
if I
think you need
do,
to put more.
yes.
Maybe if I do this, maybe if I do that, then I can win their affection. And usually, what happens is that it repels them even
Absolutely,
more.
absolutely, because when you understand how energy works,
Yes,
then
yes.
like, because now like I understand how energy works, and now I'm like, okay, I need to let go, I need to release, right?
Exactly.
Because otherwise, like the person is just gonna feel your energy coming
it's
onto them.
overwhelming. It's overwhelming. And like every single time, and particularly in friendships, when I've let go and I'm like, whatever, that's fine. Usually those people come back around and the friendship ends up flowing. But when I'm trying to control, when I'm trying to please, when I'm trying to do what I think the other person wants me to do, when I'm trying to conform, then it repels them.
Yeah.
But the second I stop and
Yeah.
allow it to be what it is for what it is,
Yeah.
then it automatically just starts working.
Yeah,
And it's a
absolutely.
lesson that I usually have to keep learning over and over and over again, just like a majority of people.
Yeah. Because I mean, it's like what you were talking about earlier before we started recording. Like we enter relationships. Like when you're interacting with somebody, like in a relationship dynamic, whether it's a friend, family member, whoever, romantic partner, it's like most of the time it's your wounded self, right? It's your wounded self talking to that person, interacting with that person is your child self, frozen in time. So whatever happened to you in your childhood, right? Whatever wounds were inflicted on you, whatever. And you know, we like to think about trauma as the big T, but trauma is trauma like to a child who cannot do like an interpretation. It doesn't have to be like a huge thing where they were abandoned, they were rejected. It can be like the smallest inconvenience, but the way they interpret that, that's trauma to them. And so you carry that.
Exactly.
And you that's what you carry as an adult.
You
Yeah.
know, I learned the other day, a lot of abandonment issues in kids start off with some things that we do very innocently, and it's something that I've also done with my daughter. You know, when they're young and they don't want you to leave the house.
Right.
And then you pretend that
Oh,
I'm
that's-
just going
oh,
down to the car
yeah.
to get something, and you wear your slippers, and then you drive away and they're crying
Oh my
and reaching
gosh.
for you.
Yeah.
Kids interpret that as the person that I love has abandoned me. They've lied to me.
Right.
First of all. They've betrayed me,
Right.
and then they've left.
Right.
And we don't think much of it until later. They internalize that and they keep it. And
They
so
do.
I think they grow up thinking people are just going to betray me, they're going to lie to me, and they're going to abandon me.
Right.
And the people that I love, I constantly have to be vigilant and watchful. Otherwise, the second I turn my attention, then they're going to leave. And it's those
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
It's exactly those
Absolutely.
things.
I've seen those videos where or like this has happened to us when we were children. Your mom tells you like, "Go get your shoes and we'll go." You come back, they're gone.
They're not
That's so
there.
traumatic.
I know.
Oh my
But
God.
you see, at
Yeah.
that time, there's
Yeah.
no ill intentions on
Right.
the part of the parent or the part of the person doing
Right.
it. They just have obligations that they need to do.
But to a
then
child.
the way the child's mind interprets it is, this person has lied to me,
Right.
and they've abandoned me.
Right.
And it's stored somewhere in the body, like they say, the body
Keeps the score.
Keeps the score. It's stored somewhere,
Right.
and at some point in the future, it has to come out. And be
Absolutely,
healed.
absolutely. So
Yeah.
because as you were saying, like you enter a relationship as your wounded self, and I'm reading this book. I think it's called "Getting the Love You Want."
Yeah.
Have you heard of it?
No, I haven't.
It's a popular book, very
Yeah.
popular.
Yeah.
Talking it about like relationships, and so the whole premise of this book is that when you find like a person, you meet a person, you might not realize that there's an unconscious part of you that recognizes them because you you want to recreate the dynamic of what you had in your childhood
Yeah.
with your caregivers, and that is why like that person feels familiar to you. The way we call attraction is familiarity.
Yeah.
Is what you feel like this person
like
feels
home.
exactly, it feels familiar, right? And so therefore you want to enter a relationship with them because they remind you of something that your unconscious self is
yes.
holding
Yes.
holding on, like stored memory.
Yeah.
And so you want to enter into whether they're abusive or not, right? Whatever you had in your childhood, if it was
Because
abusive,
what feels like home
Exactly.
is not necessarily peace and good.
Yes.
If it was
If it was
if it
traumatic.
was violent, if it was abusive, that feels safe.
Yes.
In fact, the opposite
Yes.
is what makes you want to have. You know when they say fight or
fight or flight, freeze, yeah.
Yeah, freeze. And if you notice, like most people, I don't know whether this happens to men, but in women, we always say we don't want the nice guy. It feels boring. Healthy love feels unsafe.
Yeah.
Because it's not exciting.
Yeah,
It
there are no
doesn't
butterflies.
It doesn't trigger those unhealed parts of you, and we end up running from what is actually good for us because it's not familiar, it's not home, it's not what we're used to. Because a lot of us operate in a lot of trauma, a lot of abandonment issues, a lot of hurt. And when you meet someone who's basically peaceful, who's not triggering that in you, who's giving you the opportunity to heal, they don't feel safe.
Yeah.
And they don't feel like home.
Yeah.
And so to you, it's boring and you want to seek out that
Yeah.
excitement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you had safety and you
Yeah.
had that given to you as a child,
Then you can-
then
it's a match.
then it sounds like a match. But otherwise, if your childhood was chaotic and like what you knew was anxiety, what you knew was, you know, abandonment and all of that, so this person is just going to feel so like, no, I don't want that, you know. In fact, I was watching Love is Blind, which I don't know if you finished, but
No, not yet.
oh,
I just
am I going to
remember
ruin
his-
it for you?
his spleen. No,
Do you
it's
think?
fine. Please.
Oh, you remember this spleen. But I was watching this girl, Katisha. She's from, I think, Scotland or
Yeah.
whatever. But she had two guys, and she like needed to pick one of them, right? And one sounded like so safe. It was like, oh my God, like the way that I imagine my life with you is like playing board games and like we recreate all of this. It sounded so safe. It sounded whatever. And this other guy, avoidant as hell. Like everybody could see it. It wasn't even hidden.
Yeah.
It wasn't something that like
Yeah.
like he's hiding. Like you can clearly see that he's avoidant, even the way that he talks to her. But guess who she chose? She chose the avoidant guy, right?
Just
So
like many of us.
yes, because so I was reading this book at the time that I'm like watching Love is Blind, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that is what's familiar to her, and she wants to recreate that because that's what, you know, is resonating with her unconscious mind,
Yeah.
right?
And it's the right thing for her because it means there's stuff that she still hasn't healed or worked through, and she needs that relationship to be able to work through that.
I agree. I want to say yes
And no.
and yes
Okay.
and no,
Yeah.
right? I agree that yes, those relationships can help you, I guess, because sometimes we say like, oh, the things that I've gone through, maybe this person put me through all of this trauma in a relationship, and then I was able to then stand
Come
in
out
my
of the other
power
side
and realize,
heal,
right?
yeah.
Yes, that. But then you can also, like, if you entered a relationship with a safe person and you didn't know how to receive that, and you didn't know that, you didn't know how to receive this person,
You end
right?
up recreating that chaos in that way.
Or like this person, I've watched like several people say, like, I didn't know what a healthy dynamic was until I met my partner. They've taught me that I deserve love. They've taught me that I'm safe. They've taught me what safety is. They've showed me all of these things. So
So the choice that she has made has probably made her miss out on finding out what a safe, healthy love feels and looks like.
No. I'm saying that, like, let's say that girl Katisha, like, let's say the safeness didn't feel safe for her because what she knew was like maybe chaos, anxiety, whatever. But I like what you were arguing, that like she needs that you need that in order for you to heal. I argue that yes, but maybe if you choose the safe option, that also can teach you what safety looks like, right? It can teach you, like, okay, this is exactly what I want, right? Yeah.
I agree 100%, but I still maintain that you keep choosing the chaotic
Yeah, absolutely.
over and over and over again until you're like, you know what? I'm gonna make a different
Yes.
choice and see this other side. So I always say we get exactly what we need at the time to heal what we need to heal. If that's the choice that she went with, it's because she still needs
Absolutely,
heal,
absolutely. Because
learn,
otherwise, like,
pattern.
if you reach a point, like, let's say she had chosen this safety, that like allows you to collapse the timelines,
Exactly.
allows you to get to the version of you that then is in that healthy dynamic.
Yes.
Whereas, like, if you choose this unsafe
She
whatever,
wants to keep playing.
yeah, you want to keep playing that game,
Yes.
and it will take you like a long time to get to that
Yes.
version of reality where you have the safety.
So she made that choice, which means she's still resonant with that
Yes.
version of her.
Yeah.
And at some point, she's going to get to a point and realize, I don't want this anymore. It could be that they heal together. It's a possibility.
If
Or
both parties are willing and they're
Exactly.
open to healing, yeah.
Or it could be that she realizes, oh shit, I don't want this anymore. I want something different. And then she ends up choosing someone who actually allows her to feel safe enough, who calms her nervous system down safe enough for her to be able to heal.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we also speak, the other dynamic and the way to look at it is, I'm glad she didn't choose the other guy who was offering her healing and safety. Because sometimes, sometimes we don't think of that other person who's healed, who's calm, and who's safe, who's entering into a dynamic
With you.
and you're not. Because then you're creating trauma in them. Because they'll keep trying to reach to you.
But the thing
And
is,
they
like,
can't.
but you're responsible for when you're entering a dynamic, right? Yes, consider the other person, but like you're thinking about yourself. So the other person should be able to recognize that you're not healed and decide not to be with you. It's their.
I get it, but that's why I'm saying that I'm glad she didn't. Because sometimes
You're glad for the other person,
I'm
right?
glad for the other person. Because I'm like, you could have probably introduced trauma in their life that they did not need to go through.
Yeah.
You get my point?
I do get your point, but what I'm saying, it's the responsibility of the other person, right? To recognize that this is not healthy for them. You also get what I'm saying.
I hear you. I'm still happy for them.
Yeah, your body always knows, your gut always knows. And I was talking to a friend that I was with yesterday, guy in his late 20s, and he's sharing about his relationship with his girlfriend, which he's feeling like something is missing, right? He feels like the dynamic is not healthy, right? You know, she bombards him with like a lot of text. Like there's a part of him that feels that, but then he goes to his mind and he's asking like his brain to kind of make sense of what's happening.
What he's feeling
Exactly. So
in
I'm
his
telling
body,
him, like, your
his
body is already
intuition.
telling you,
Yeah.
your gut is already telling you. All the time we have like a higher intelligence, the body and the gut that's always communicating with us, but then we want the brain to explain, even though the body already feels it.
I
You know,
override my intuition a lot and go with the intellect, even though I've already picked up on the energy, on the whatever. My intuition has already told me something is not right here. But then I intellectualize things and I keep going, even though I already know. I know, I'm fully aware, but then I keep going, either because I think I can change the person, I can change the situation, I can tweak it, I can make it better somehow.
Yeah.
And I keep going, and sometimes it's to my own detriment. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
like,
one of the biggest lessons that I have to
yeah,
learn.
because I guess like, yeah, if you keep doing it, then you would reach a point, a breaking
Exactly.
point where like the rubber band just
Yes.
breaks. Yeah, it reminds me of like one time I found myself in a situation where my body, you know how people say like, especially women say that I felt butterflies. That is not healthy.
it's not
That is, if you feel butterfly with a guy, run the other side. Like, don't go towards him, because even now people use it to describe like, oh my God, he gives me butterflies. I'm like, no, that is not a good
Now
sign.
when I feel that, like in the beginning, it's often a sign to like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I know stuff is coming, and it's not going to be good
Yeah,
stuff.
that's not a good
Because
sign.
usually,
Yeah.
you're supposed to feel calm
Yeah.
and safe and at home.
Yeah.
But oftentimes you feel the butterflies and the tension and the and this instant attraction.
Yeah, it
You
feels
know,
so like a,
oh my God, what
absolutely.
is this? And I always think like, yo, like there's some deep trauma coming up here. So
Yeah.
it's exciting in the beginning until you actually get into it and you get triggered.
Yes.
And all these things start coming up. And now all the
But if you use them to heal, that's good.
that's fine. But
Yeah.
now I know. Like when I have that major excitement at the beginning of a friendship, most of the times I know this is gonna be a real one. This is going to really
Yeah.
really bring up some deep
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, I haven't like I've found myself with a guy like in that
Yeah.
dynamic. I found myself with like a few years ago where like I met a guy immediately instantly it was like an instant connection, and it kind of caught me off guard and kind of scared me at the same time. And in fact, I was like hiding from him because I was like, this is weird. How can he say like a few lines and I say a few lines and then I feel like pulled to him? So I was like going and distracting myself with other people to avoid him. But I felt like attracted to him, right? And then I think it was like a few days later, he started coming after me, right? And a part of me is so drawn to him because like there was chemistry, there was banter. Yes. And I'm drawn to him, but at the same time, there's like an inner, deeper knowing that's telling me that's not a safe place. That's not a and that's before I healed. Actually, that's before like I started my journey of healing and whatever. So there was an inner higher intelligence that's saying no to him because he asked me like out a few times and I was saying no to him. And I don't understand why I'm saying no. Because I'm like, he's so attractive. I'm so like there's so much banter between me and him.
Why is my body not?
And also like why am I saying no to him, right? So it took a few like weeks, I said no to him. He was still like interact with me. And then after like a few weeks, like some friends convinced me and they were like, dude, like what is wrong with you? So I ended up saying yes to like going out with him, right? Because I was like, yeah, I'm like standing in my own way. When I look back, I'm like, no, I was not standing in my own. My higher intelligence was communicating with me, and I just decided to be like, yeah, you're just standing in your own way, right? And friends convinced me, and then I reached out to him, and we started talking, and we started going out. And then, of course, like that relationship was like, I shouldn't even call it a relationship. It was like something that lasted like a month or so, right? And during that dynamic, it quickly became apparent that, yeah, this is not like a person that I can see as a long-term partner. Yeah. And even as like things ended, I asked myself like, like a deeper truth, even if something had to work out, if things didn't have to end right now, this is not somebody that you would consider like a long-term person, right? Because like, because I've had other dynamics where like, in the beginning, I felt safe with the person. Like I felt calmness, I felt safe. And yeah, so like it's like when I was saying no to him, there was a deeper body, gut, whatever. And what I've realized that when I look back, whenever I was with these people that my body was already communicating with me, whenever they would get close to me, I would have like I would shift back. I would have like a body reaction. my body would
was
shift
already
away from.
rejecting it.
Yes,
It knew
yes.
it wasn't right for
Yes,
you.
even oh my God, I don't want to talk about this, but I had a boyfriend like several years ago, you know, who like when he would get close to me, my body would shift. He was not abusive or anything. Like he never did anything, nothing of, because I've never experienced any of that in a relationship.
Yeah.
But I don't understand why like my body was always shifting away from him. And when I look back, I'm like, these people, my body was already telling me that I didn't
not
feel
right.
safe
It's
with
not
them.
safe,
And
yeah.
it's not because they were dangerous or whatever, because they never did anything to me, but it's just that I wasn't feeling safe.
Yeah.
My body's so good at doing that. It's so good at doing that. And like, and there are a lot of people whose body is doing that, but then they don't understand what's happening. Because if you don't understand what's happening, you're just going to brush it off and you're like, okay.
I think we do
Yeah.
know. We choose to intellectualize.
I didn't know. For me, I didn't know when the body was shifting.
Really?
In fact, I want to even add that I wasn't even conscious that the body was shifting. Even this guy mentioned to me, and he was like, "Hey, what's up with that? Whenever I try to get close to you, you shift. What's up with that?" And I was like, "I actually don't know. I don't know. I didn't even know that I was doing it." Even the guy from like years ago. He I think it's something he noticed, but I was not aware that I was doing that. Yeah.
Wow. So your body does always know.
But I was not aware.
Yeah.
But now when I look back, I can clearly see that my body always knew with these people. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I mean, I say relationships come to trigger us and to heal the parts of ourselves that we need to heal.
Yeah.
But also to amplify parts of ourselves that are good and that we have not paid close attention
Yeah.
to. Because there's also people that come into your life and they bring so much love, so much
Mm-hmm.
joy, and unlock, I like to say, little portals of happiness and peace that you did not know existed. Or they show you a different way of life, or they show you parts of your personality that
Yeah.
you did not know were there. And so it's both. It's not usually just about healing trauma and bringing out the parts of us that are unhealed. Sometimes they also come in to heal and to also open us up
Yeah.
to ease and joy and love.
Yeah.
But either way, personal relationships, I mean, provide us with the biggest capacity to overcome things that are usually holding us back. And that's why the people closest to us see either the best of us or the worst of us, and parts that acquaintances will never ever get to see. So yeah, it's interesting. It's very interesting, and we can't thrive in isolation as human beings. In as much as I'm an introvert and I like to keep to myself and keep away from people, I also recognize that, times in my life when I've really healed, evolved, had the best times and the worst times, all of which have made me into who I am, have been with other people. Whether it's a romantic partnership, whether it's a friendship, whether it's acquaintances at work, it's all been through other people. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with that. Like, there are some friendships that have shown me, like, what does it look like to operate from like a heart-centered, right? Because as a person who operated from mind, I'm such a heady person. I don't know. Are you familiar with the Enneagram?
No. Well,
Not at all.
sorry, we've spoken about it and you've told me about it, but I've actually never done one
Okay.
for myself. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's sort of like a personality, and actually it's deeper than a personality. It's so deeper than like the Myers-Briggs.
Yeah.
But
It's only similar to Myers-Briggs
it's not similar. It's like there's some aspects that are similar, but I want to say it's very deeper than that, because I see the Enneagram as like psycho spiritual. Like there's some psychology integrated with spirituality, because it actually does talk about shadows, whereas like the Myers-Briggs doesn't. So the Enneagram does touch on shadows, and then it kind of divides like people into, there are people that operate from the head, like, so you're head centered. There are people that operate from their heart centered, and then you have body centered people. And so when I found out that I'm a head person, I was not surprised. There was no surprise at all. I was like, makes sense. And then so I've been in relationship with people that operate from their body. And the way, like, because they teach me so much, because the way they just they respond with their body. Like, you can see that they don't use their head to try to make sense of things. They just move towards what they feel that is right for them. And then I've seen people that just respond with their heart, and I'm like, oh, you know, that's what I,
beautiful.
yeah.
Yeah.
So like I kind of set myself out to be like, okay, I need to strengthen, you know, because you're a whole human being, so you have all of them, but you tend to lean towards like one stronger one. So you have like one and then number two, number three, right? So I tend to lean towards the head more, right? So I was like, okay, I need to strengthen my heart center and my body center so that I can start using that. So it's so good to have like relationships that are able to show you that, hey, like, you know, you can get out of your head and start operating with your body and operate from your heart. And it's just so beautiful to see, because it's like everyone is you, right? Everyone is you. So you're me, I'm you, right? So whatever, however you operate in this world, it's like showing me that I have that, right? If you're operating from the heart and I'm operating from the head, you're showing me a part of myself that I'm not in touch with, and I haven't like engaged, right? And it shows me that like I have the capability of doing that if I choose to engage that. Yeah.
I think I would say for me, I'm more of a, I would definitely, I operate more from my heart and my body. That's my default. And most times I'm not very logical. And so I do like surrounding myself with people who are very logical. And I tend to attract that a lot because it helps to ground me. I am also very, when you're heart centered, it's not always a good thing because sometimes you lack boundaries and you lack the ability to say no to people and you're constantly overgiving. And so when I've attracted people who are very logical, who operate from their head, who have strict boundaries, then I've been able to learn that, oh, you can say no without feeling guilty. You can do this, you can, you know, so it's in relationship with others that we also get to know ourselves better and also like strengthen parts of ourselves that we don't normally or necessarily operate from. And so I'm grateful that I get to have other people who are the opposite of me, and they learn from me and I learn from them.
Yeah. Relationships are so essential for your growth, but I think like it's so important to like realize that some of the love that you're seeking from other people will never come from the other people. Like you have to realize that you're your own home first, and you're the one who can give yourself like everything that you want. And relationships can teach you that, right? I think they're there to teach you that like you cannot, you know how people sometimes like put everything on the other person, and it's just so much pressure that you have to be my whole thing. Like there are people that are like, okay, you're my whole life, right? That is a lot of pressure because you have your own life, right? Right? Because I think like what she was talking about, that's what she was doing, like putting your my, like if something happened to you, I don't know what I'm gonna do, right?
It's a lot of pressure.
It's a lot of pressure on the other person. And there are like a lot of conversations about, you know, when you enter like a romantic dynamic, like you need to have a life outside of that. You need to have friends so that like you have like different aspects of you that you're able to bring out with different people instead of like relying on one person. And also like understanding that you would always be your own home and have like your full cup. Like that is the best way to operate. And so I think like it just reminds me, like my whole healing journey has been about that, because fundamentally I feel like there was a part of me that always believed, like at the core, that I needed somebody to navigate this human experience. Like I needed one human, like a romantic. Like there was a part of me that always felt like that I needed this person to help me survive this human existence. And what the universe does is like strip you of all of that to realize that like, wait, you can stand on your own feet. And I feel like my whole healing journey has been about that, realizing that yes, like it's beautiful to have a relationship, to have that desire, but at the end of the day, you have to be able to stand on your own feet.
I think that's the whole point of the healing journey.
Yeah.
What I've learned so far is that the relationship that I have with myself is
The most important.
And it informs how I relate to everyone around me.
Yeah.
And I found that often when in conflict with myself, with my inner self, when I'm being critical, when I'm being, very often it's mirrored back to me by the people
Yeah.
around me. And so I've learned that it doesn't matter who's around me, whether romantic, whether friendship, the relationship that I have with me determines how I'm going to be in relationship to those other people. And for me, my whole journey has been coming back to self, being happy with myself, filling myself up and filling my cup, and not giving everything that I have, but to give from overflow. Am I there yet? No. But am I working on it? Yes.
Yeah.
But I have gotten to a stage where I love spending time with myself. I go out on my own.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel odd to be with just me, to have fun with just me.
Right.
And I found that when I've done that, I don't have that pressure and that anxious attachment style where I constantly need my partner to be everything for me, my friends to be everything for me. And there are times when I feel that I need them, yes, but for the most part, I think I've gotten to a point where I'm okay being with myself, but I'm also okay with other people being there to support me and
Yeah.
to be a mirror and to be a reflection.
Yeah.
And so either way, it's all about me,
Right.
and it determines how I show up
Yeah.
in all my
Yeah.
relationships.
So I feel like you kind of have like a perfect, no, I don't want to say perfect, but you have like, your situation is great because then you can get outside the relationship.
Yeah.
Because like you're in an intimate relationship,
Yeah.
and you live together.
Yeah.
You can get outside
You
of
said
that.
that to me before.
No, because I'd say that because
Very much
the
like
reason
that.
I'm saying that is because
Yeah.
I'm the opposite.
Yeah.
Where like I've healed alone, and
Yeah.
often sometimes I actually ask myself like, I know I've healed a lot, but if I were to get in like a romantic dynamic
How
right
is
now,
it?
how is it gonna be?
Yeah.
Because
I know
there's
what
so
you
many.
mean.
Yeah, because somebody suddenly is in your energetic field,
Yeah.
and you have to be like, you're constantly, in the beginning, of course,
Yes.
it's exciting, whatever, and
Yeah.
then the shit hits the
Yeah,
fan,
yeah.
right? And then you start to address like things and whatever.
Yeah.
So I always wonder, like, how is it going to be with another person? Because I've learned to be in my own energy.
Yeah.
And, of course, like friends that I have, I don't live with them, right?
Yeah.
Yes, we have conflict and we address it, but we're not in the same house where they're seeing me every
Yeah,
day, right?
yeah,
It's different,
yeah.
right? Whereas like a person that you live with every single day, like you're with them. They see you when you're, like I've been going through a lot of contrast,
all of
right,
it.
lately.
Yeah, they
So they
see all
see
parts of you.
that on a day-to-day
Yeah.
basis. But I think like one thing that I tell myself is that because I've learned to be on my own so much, I understand how important that is. So therefore, like if I were to get in a dynamic with somebody, I feel like I would really, really want to prioritize that, so that I can also, because sometimes like you go through something and you put it on the other person. You
No,
think that
it's
the other
true.
person who caused
It's
it.
true, but it's you. It's all coming from
Yeah, because
within.
now like I've learned, so like, sometimes I get in like I experience contrast. I get in a low mood, I'm sad, I'm heavy. There's no one that I interacted with. It's just something that's happening, right? Something that's wanting to be released, right? But when you're in a dynamic with somebody, sometimes you feel like that and you're like, oh, it's you
And
who
it's
caused
easy to
it.
point a
Exactly,
finger.
that's what I'm
Yes,
saying. So
exactly.
yeah, so
Yeah.
those things I have to be so aware of them.
Yeah.
Like if when I get involved with
Yeah.
somebody, to like not point a finger and
Yeah.
be like, okay, you're the cause of
But
whatever
in
is
the
going on
begin-
with
you
me.
probably have to make peace with the fact that in the beginning it may be like that until you find that balance.
Yes.
Because the reason why for me it was important to find myself outside of being in a relationship is because I've been partnered for
Yeah.
majority of my adult life. And so I had to figure out, what is it like being with myself? What is it like being separate from somebody else, processing my own
So I have to
emotions?
do the opposite of you.
You have to do the opposite.
What is it
of
like
me.
being in another person?
Yes,
That's what I was saying. Like
exactly.
being with a
Exactly.
person and be able
Yeah.
to address those things with another person, because
Yes.
now I'm addressing them
Yes.
by myself.
Yeah.
Literally, you're the opposite of me.
Exactly. We're opposites. We're opposites of each other.
Yeah.
I've had to learn how to be separate and have my own identity outside of being partnered with somebody else.
Now I have to learn how to be
Now
with a
you
partner.
have to learn how to come out from being just you as Bamzi and be partnered with somebody
Yeah.
else, but still maintain your own separate identity. Because I've seen a lot of people who get into relationships, and in every relationship, they basically just become the other person. And
It's
they
so easy
merge
to
and
just
blend,
be,
and it's like
yeah.
they have no sense
You
of
lose your
self.
identity.
You lose your identity, and that's
Yeah.
always the balance.
Yeah.
How can I be partnered with this person and we have an identity together, but then at the same time they're their own person and I'm my own person?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's how it's meant to be, because a whole person and a whole person come together. It's not my other half, and I don't like
That's
saying
what other
that,
people say,
because
like
it's
my
this is half and
yeah.
this is half. Two halves, when you come together, it's because you don't make a whole.
Right.
You need to be whole.
You're a whole
and
person,
whole,
yeah.
and then the overflow comes together, because then if you're a half and I'm a half, then I'm constantly trying to fill into you and you into me, and
Yeah.
it's never gonna become whole.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I mean, one thing, like I always said before that, like I always wanted to feel whole within myself before like I date somebody, because it's something you hear. You need to be happy on your own. You need to fill your own
Yeah.
cup, be a whole person. And I can truly say that I'm there, right?
Yeah.
Because now, like, there are days where like I'm feeling so happy, like not because there's anyone, but I already feel that. So I know that I'm at that place.
Yeah.
But I think that the learning, the balance and whatever, like it's something that I truly have to learn.
You'll figure it out. Because
Yeah.
even when you feel like you're whole and you've learned and what I've learned is to be adaptable. Adaptable in that there's days when I feel whole and happy by myself, and there's also days when I wake up and I feel like, you know what, I need the other person. And so they're not all equal, and it's accepting that dynamic, that there are days when I feel whole and confident and happy with myself, and then there's also days that I wake up and my self-esteem is down to the pits, and I literally need someone else there, whether be it a friend, be it a partner, to remind me that, you know what, you are all that.
Yeah.
You know, and so
Yeah.
it's accepting that it's a human dynamic and that we don't constantly feel the same way every day.
Right.
And some seasons you feel
No, because I've seen myself through it when I'm alone.
Yeah.
So like that's the thing I have to remind myself. Like when you're with the other person, look at what is happening before you point the finger.
Exactly.
You know, that is the biggest lesson that I've learned. Like even with like different triggers, like I always try to investigate, like, is it my stuff? Right? I'm being triggered because of a specific reason. This is the reason why I'm being triggered. I need to investigate that. Yes, address the thing, but also investigate why that triggered me. Yeah.
But sometimes it's not always about you. It's not always that you have something to heal.
But if you're triggered, honestly, if you're triggered, I feel like
sometimes in the healing and the spiritual journey, I find that we tend to carry a lot of the blame and a lot of it's us, you need to look within, you need to look. Sometimes it is the other person.
No, I get that.
Particularly when you're maybe in a relationship with a narcissist.
I get
know
that.
that word has been overused, but sometimes you are in relationships with people like that.
No, I get
and
that.
People who never take responsibility for their stuff.
I've never gotten that more. Like,
And
I'll tell you about it offline. But
And they thrive off of being with someone who's constantly taking blame for everything.
Yeah.
And so you also, part of being healed and being whole is realizing, is this my stuff or is this the other person's stuff? And it's not always that just because you've been triggered that it has something to do with you.
Yeah.
So
So I think maybe that's like a whole topic on another day. I don't want to start like a whole journey.
Sure.
But I think like that's one thing we can talk about maybe next time. Like, how do you use your intuition to be able to pass out like what is yours and what is, because that came out recently for me where I was like, wait, no, absolutely. So I think that's like a huge topic for another day. But for now, I think we can stop here because I like that topic because honestly, like that is one thing that I can relate deeply, and I think like I have a lot of material. But I think we can stop here, and we will see you on our next episode of The Art of Being.
as always.
We hope today's conversation resonated with you, brought you a sense of clarity, and maybe even challenged you to reflect further on your healing and spiritual journey.
If it touched something in you, would be so grateful if you left us a 5-star rating on Apple or Spotify. And if you're on YouTube, share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear your reflections or suggestions for future topics.
You can find our socials and email in the episode description. We always love hearing from you. Until next time, take gentle care of your soul, mind, and body.